Hi, everyone, and welcome to Fitness Knocking with Lois. Today, we are talking about finding the balance with food and talking about having your cake and eating it too. I'm your host, Lois, the owner of Fitness Knocking, that we do in-home personal training and online personal training as well. We work with small groups and individuals, so if you have any trouble with that, give us a call and we'll be able to help. Our next episode is going to be talking with Mary Ellen Zung, and we're talking about indulging without the bulging. And we're doing different food combinations that are desserts. So if you want to chime in for that, that's going to be next week. So definitely chime in for that one. So today we're talking with nutrition expert Barbara Minemier, the owner of Your Healthy Truth, all about counting chemicals, not calories. So Barb, welcome again. How are you today?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm really good. So, have you been going anywhere? I think you're going on vacation soon, right?
Next week we're going to break out. We're going to break out of here. We're going to get out of Dodge.
Woohoo! Very cool. Where are you going?
Yeah. We're going out to Montauk.
Nice.
Yeah, just to by the beach, a different beach, and different area, and yeah.
Very good. I hope you enjoy that vacation, and thank you so much for taking the time to come and chat with us today about food. And people are so obsessed. I know a lot of people are obsessed with good and bad foods. I love talking about having your cake and eating it too, so to speak. And I think that we all get into this routine of eating the same things over and over again. So my first question to you is, how can we balance what we eat?
Well, a good way, my rule of thumb is to always, and I know that your audience may not be up with this, but I always think that we should get, foods of color, fruits and vegetables, I'm partial to the green color. That's like my favorite color in food anyway. And, and your protein, fish, chicken, grass-fed beef, organic chicken, and wild-caught fish. And because I have food sensitivities, that's the way that I eat. So that's my world. That's what I know. But I think that there's nothing wrong with having your cake and eating it too, as long as it's not like an all the time occurrence.
Right.
Save those for special occasions.
Yeah, absolutely. So, barring any food sensitivities that people have, what do you think about avoiding food groups if you don't have a specific allergy to them? Good, not good? What are your thoughts?
No, I don't think so. I think that, our body has a way of letting us know what doesn't work for us. It really does. Your stomach will either bloat, cramping, fatigue. You'll know it. And I think if you don't have food sensitivities and you can eat all the food groups in moderation, I'd say I am jealous and just go for it because, but also be mindful. I say go for it, but you really do have to be mindful of processed foods, anything in a bag or a box. That's where all the chemicals hide. Anything with an ingredient list that's like this long and even this long. Beware of. If you can cook or eat in your home 75 to 80% of the time, that's half the battle.
Okay, that's a really good tip. So when you say like the ingredient list being ultra long, I agree with you with counting chemicals, not calories, and counting the number of ingredients that are in things. What's kind of a good rule of thumb from your perspective on how many ingredients are in something? If it's above that number, you put the package down.
Well, you'll be really hard pressed to find this in most cases, but I say 5.
Okay.
5 that you can read and know what they are.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Are there any specific things so if we pick up a package and we see certain words, should we put it back down immediately?
Natural flavors, definitely.
Ooh. Natural flavors.
Yeah, natural. I used to see that and think, well, if they're so natural, why don't they just put them on the list? Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And I come to find out that over 100 different chemicals hide behind the label of natural flavors. So we're talking about mixed in the lab, and these are the things when you eat a dish out in a restaurant, it tastes so good that you want to lick the bowl. That should be red flag number one, that it's not just the food you're eating, it's the flavor enhancers and extra added chemicals to bring that to you.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Like when you think about that, because you don't know what's in it, and if you don't know what's in it, how's your stomach going to know what to do with it? So,
And if that happens every once in a while, like I have a favorite pasta dish of mine that I love, and I was out to dinner and it was so good. I really did want to lick the bowl. I wanted to order another dish of it too. And I sat there and I thought, I know I'm eating chemicals, but you know what? I don't do this all the time. I'm going to enjoy myself and savor every bit of it. And that's what I did.
okay, so I guess my next question for you, avoiding the whole thing about like no holds barred. When you eat too much, and I know we've all done this, where you start eating something and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so good. You keep eating it and eating it and eating it. I actually had a client say to me, listen, I can't do pizza ever, because if I do even one slice, I can't stop. What do I say to somebody like that? What are your thoughts?
Well, it depends on how bad the addiction to it is, quite frankly. For some people, it's just they can't even, like with sugar, I know people, once they start, forget about it. But, I had a client that used to binge eat once a week. And it was around the holidays, and, Italian, and, the 7 fish and all the desserts. And my partner's Italian, so trust me, I know about those 5-6 hour meals, you know what I mean? And you don't get up from the table, you know what I mean? So anyway, so what I did for her is I said, okay, so only one plate. You're not going back for second and thirds, which she would do. I said, one plate, you get up from the table and you go sit in the other room, or you go out and take a walk, but this woman, she was really committed. She really wanted the change. She wanted to make changes, and she did whatever it took. And she did walk away from the table, and she did get through Christmas. But what was great about that, because she did it that one time, her confidence went up another notch. And she said, my God, if I could do it once, I can do it again. And she did it again and again, and didn't binge eat again the entire time we worked for like 6 months,
Right.
But it takes, what is it, 21 days to create a habit. So if you think that you could at all even do that, have the pizza, get up and go for a walk around the neighborhood, or do something, change your routine. That's what you have to do. You have to change the behaviors. You still can't sit in front of the pizza after you've had your share and expect yourself not to keep eating it. I mean, that would be insanity. So, I mean, it can be done, but you have to work at it. And as much as you get drawn back to that pizza, you have to keep walking. You just have to, and in time, it becomes a habit. So
I always try to attribute, even for myself, because I know I have my own challenges with food, but it's like you would never overfill a car with gasoline past full. Why are we doing it to us?
I like that.
Isn't that really true?
But you know what? That's not just about food. That's emotions. That's emotions at play. You know what I mean? I always say food is our vehicle, but it's really our emotional triggers that drive the train, that keep us eating even when we're not hungry,
Right. So I always say, like, it's a choice to eat or to not eat, and you choose what you put in your mouth, and you have the choice to not put it in your mouth. So, and if you're full, stop. Your stomach can only hold so much. But yeah.
But you know what? When emotions are at play, it's really not that easy. Even different cultures are like, you don't feel, but you feel bad today. Oh, here, sit down. Let me give you a bowl of ice cream or a piece of cake.
Yep.
All that. You're Italian. You know what that's all about.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm an Italian. I know what it's all about.
I couldn't walk into my grandmother's house without being handed something to eat. And there was one year, or 2 years, I lived with my grandmother while I was going to college. And I remember walking into her house like after the first week, and like I was said to I was a dance major and a health major in college. So eating Italian food 1,000 times a week was just like not possible. Just to maintain a healthy lifestyle, like all the time, the amount that she wanted to feed me. And I walked in and I said, Mama, I'm not hungry. And she goes, you look so thin. You need to eat something. And I said, right, but I'm not hungry. And she said, you make me feel bad when you don't eat my food. And I said, well, I feel bad when I eat too much of your food.
Yeah.
Changing the commitment level. I love that you said that. Changing the commitment level, changing the behavior, changing the routine. And I said to her, listen, when I am hungry, I promise I will tell you and you can cook for me. She said, okay. So yeah, you had to change the thought process.
Right. You had a motivation, though, to be a dance major, because I know one of our nieces was a ballerina and she was so committed to the craft. But you had a motivation, you know what I mean, to dance. And that outweighed.
Yeah, commitment to something. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. So I get this question a lot. So what should most of my foods during the week look like?
Once again, back to the color.
I know what you're going to say. I want other people to tell you.
Fruits and vegetables of color. There's mangoes, there's melons, there's all kinds of different fruits. There's vegetables, pepper, squash. Those are all loaded with antioxidants. And then, your protein, you need to have protein. So whether it's wild caught fish, organic chicken, grass-fed beef, that's pretty much. And if you cook it yourself, you know exactly what's in it. You know what I mean? There's no surprises. And when you start to eat clean, your palate changes. So what used to work prior to that no longer works anymore. Some foods are too sweet or whatever, so you don't go there anymore. But so that's really what I recommend. And if, like I said before, if you can cook 75% of the time in your house, and if you go out the other, and just make healthier choices when you're out.
So what do you think about having indulgences or desserts or like cakes or cookies or sweets or even wine or soda or pizza, those kinds of things, the things that people are deeming, that we deem, on the non-healthier side of this.
Wine is not considered not healthy,
In excess, right?
Well, in excess, absolutely not. But if you're going to have a glass of wine with dinner.
Okay. How can you have it in moderation, or like what's your suggestion to how much somebody should eat on a day-to-day? I know you just said it kind of depends.
Yeah, I think 3 meals a day is good. I mean, some people get up, they never have breakfast. They don't eat till they have their lunch. And, when you put food in your system, your metabolism revs up. You know what I mean? Things get going. And so I always think it's always important to have breakfast. And then then you could have a snack in between, like an apple or something like that. And then you have your lunch, so I think that, I don't really look at the volume because I eat clean, but if you're eating pizza, you don't want to eat the whole pie, you know what I mean? And if you're having chicken or, beef, whatever it is, just, you see, because I don't look at that, I don't think about it. So like the size of your fist is traditionally what we talk about,
right?
For your protein, that should be a guide, because if you have that and I always have a couple vegetables. I don't eat a lot of grains anymore, but quinoa I still eat. Then, and you give yourself a chance for the food to digest, you should be pretty full from that, honestly.
Right. So if you're feeling like you want to go back for the sweets, quote unquote, having, looking at the cake and then wanting to eat it, if somebody has cake, how do you know, how often should you have that kind of thing?
I think if you can make your own, I think that's even better, because you know what's in it. Because I'm the chemical girl, right? And I'm telling you, and all those cakes and cookies and everything, there is so much. This mirror makes me crazy. Crap I always have to adjust to the screen here. There's so much crap in stuff, genetically modified ingredients, tons of sugar, chemicals. So if you can make your own, I think there's plenty of cookbooks out there where you can do that.
Good,
But
yeah.
if you're not a healthy eater to begin with your meals, you're not going to give a rip on how healthy your dessert is, and I understand that. So for the people that are healthier, there are other things you can make at your home that are easy. And if you need to have a treat, like I have clients who say, "Oh my God, I'm dreaming about ice cream." I say, then have it. Don't do the big bowl. Wait, here we go again. Don't do the big bowl. Do a smaller bowl and call it a day, because if you don't have it, you're going to eat everything else under the sun except what you really want, because you can't have it. And then you're dissatisfied and you're cranky and you're mad at me, and that's no fun either. So
listening for what your body is asking for is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, but also
have a little bit of it.
Yeah, have a little bit. It doesn't mean you can never have it again, but make it a special occasion. Don't make it like a 3-time-a-week thing, like you have cookies 3 times a week. I just think
once every other week.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because you don't want to undo all the good you do during the week either, And these are for people that are really looking to make change. I know that not everybody is, but one thing I just want to say real quick to add to if you're just making changes, I always recommend a smoothie. A smoothie in the morning, half an avocado, kale, which is my favorite. You put some apple in there, a little bit of pineapple. You put your protein powder, your greens in there, vibrants. I like that green powder. And it fills you up. And you've already gotten 4 servings of fruits and vegetables in one smoothie, And so you're really ahead of the game for the day. And it's a healthier start to your day.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a quick question from one of our audience members who's watching. Anything in moderation, right?
Right. Uh-oh. What's coming?
that was a statement / question. So is there anything you would say, like, don't eat at all, if they missed the beginning when we talked about counting chemicals and not calories?
Yeah, I would say anything in a bag or a box is really, it's not good for you. It honestly and truly isn't. Anything with an ingredient list that's this long or even this long, five ingredients or under is the number for the day. I feel like I'm on Sesame Street. 5 is the number for the day.
Good. So less than 5 ingredients, you're pretty much okay, and that what each ingredient is. And if you want to have like a sweet or something like that, some kind of indulgence, try to make it yourself if you can. If you can't, have it less often, right?
Yeah, I make my own little treats, and anytime I do events, I bring them with me. And I have a recipe that I could share with your people. I don't know where I could put it, or they could email me for it.
Yeah, why don't we do that? So I'll put your email address up. So what recipe is it, just in case they want to know?
It's called Lemon Power Bites, and it's dates, raw almonds, raw cashews, and lemon juice. 4 ingredients. And I'm telling you, well, you'll see and then how you make them. But you make little balls with them. You roll them in nuts, and I keep them in the freezer. And after my dinner, I always like to have a treat. So I'll take a couple of those out, and that's it. It does me good. It gives me that little sweet that I'm looking for. And there's no added ingredients. And I also I'll give Trader Joe a plug. They have an organic 72% cacao chocolate bar. And I'll have 2 squares out of that bar if I don't have that. And it just does me good. So
yeah, that's really good. I like taking, my kids love this too. I take an apple and slice it really thin, and then I put some like organic peanut butter on it, and then a couple of dark chocolate chips. I buy like the real chocolate ones.
And that's great.
It tastes like one of those apples that you get at the boardwalk that are dipped in.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, you're using the healthy peanut butter though, right, Lois?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It just has literally peanuts. It's the only ingredient. So
Yeah, no Skippy and no Jif. Now, there's an ingredient label you should all read and
yeah.
run away from.
All right, awesome. So I don't see any other questions coming up, but if you do have questions and you're watching this after this is live aired, you can reach out to us in the comments section and ask any questions that you have regarding this topic. Barb, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. I love your insight and your information, and hopefully you at home can have your cake and eat it too, based on some of the information that you got here today. Definitely chime in next week. Again, we're talking with Mary Ellen Zung about indulging indulge without the bulge. I almost said indulging, but indulge without the bulge. And we're going to talk about making 4 different desserts, and they're going to be really good. And I'm going to do some. Definitely chime in for that one. It'll be really fun. But again, thank you so much for watching at home. And again, if you need or know someone that needs exercise coaching at home or on your device of choice, please let us know. And oh, we have one more question that came through. I have a question on my text. Okay, hold on. Let's see what she said. Hang on. Hold. Okay, so this person made the mistake of having French toast when they had breakfast or when going out to breakfast, and then after eating, her stomach hurt. Is that common?
No, your stomach should not hurt after a meal.
Okay.
She could have a sensitivity to gluten, or maybe there was something else that was on the French toast, or dairy if it was butter, you know what I mean?
Right.
It could be. But you know what, I just wanted to say, Lois, before we go, that I also offer a 30-minute complimentary consult. So if anybody's experiencing any of these digestive issues or sensitivities, so they may think, we could hop on the phone, and sometimes a simple tip could help you square it away and figure it out.
So if they want to do that, they can go to your website?
Yeah, they can go to my website, yourhealthytruth.com, and there is a thing right on the homepage where you can click on and you can schedule an appointment with me.
Awesome. And if you ever have any questions for me, here's my information, fitnesshacking.com, and that's my email address. Thank you again so much for watching, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks, Barb.
Thanks, Lois. It's been fun, as always.